No doubt about it, functional, budget-minded family motoring is best served by one of those van-based mini-MPVs. For many though, something like this is too square and boring to run as an only car. So what if someone made it smaller and cheaper so that you could run one as a second or third car alongside something nicer? And what if they made it trendier too? That's what Fiat's Qubo sets out to deliver. Is the van-based mini-MPV ready to become cool? It sounds unlikely, but if any vehicle is going to achieve that, perhaps it's this one, Fiat's Qubo. Not only does it look trendier than any car of this type has a right to look, but it's also smaller than you might expect. Now, compact little cars that are versatile and based on vans have been with us for quite some time, but they've never been delivered to us quite this small. Whereas familiar vehicles in this sector like Citroen's Berlingo Multispace or Renault's Kangoo are family hatchback-Focus or Astra-sized, this one is no bigger than a Fiesta supermini, yet it offers almost as much space as its van-based counterparts. It may even be slightly unfair to call it van-based. Yes, you could see this as a Fiat Fiorino van with windows and seats, but that vehicle in turn is based on Fiat's Punto supermini. So let's stop trying to label this model and instead look at it for what it is. A very compact 4 to 5 seater family car that's small enough to twirl around the tightest underground supermarket car park, yet big enough to use on the average family holiday. And that's a pretty tough brief to fulfill if you think about it. For busy families, Fiat has also created larger Doblo and multipler compact MPVs. But if you don't need the 6 and 7 seater options that they provide, then you're probably better off with this one. You don't tend to approach a drive in any MPV, let alone one related to a van, with much enthusiasm, and on paper, such pessimism seems justified here. Hopes of even moderately nippy performance from the Qubo will be immediately dashed as soon as you learn that neither the 75 brake horsepower 1.3 litre diesel or the other option, the 73 brake horsepower 1.4 litre petrol, can break the 16-second barrier for the sprint from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Get out on the road, however, and the story is a little different, at least if you opt for the diesel I have here. With 190 newton meters of torque, there's plenty of pulling power to waft you about without having to row the car along with the gear lever on the kind of urban trips you're likely to want this Fiat to perform. Quite simply, it's as fast as it needs to be. True, there's a distinctly van-like driving position, but that also means you sit quite high and get a good view of the road. You feel comfortable too, thanks to a wheel that adjusts in and out as well as up and down, plus a height adjustable seat on this plush version. On the move, the unyielding van suspension has been softened for passenger use, though not enough to exacerbate the kind of body roll that all highish-sided cars suffer from to some extent. This one compensates with mild, relaxing road manners, plenty of grip and reasonable refinement. All-round visibility is brilliant, so it's easy to park with a tight turning circle and accurate steering. The Qubo has all the key design elements of a roomy small car nailed down. The wheels are pushed right out to each corner of the vehicle, the bonnet is stubby and the roof is tall. Practical then, but not a recipe for something you'd be proud to be seen in. Or is it? The oversized bumpers and wheel arches, the dramatic rear side windows, the bottom edges of which slope steeply upwards towards the rear of the car, with the roof rails and alloys on this plusher version, it makes it all almost SUV-like. You wouldn't be embarrassed to drop the kids off in one of these, though your offspring might be irritated to find that they can't fully open the rear windows. At under 4 metres in length, this Fiat is no bigger than a Fiesta supermini, but there's plenty of space inside. More headroom, for example, than you could possibly find a use for, plus legroom is ample for up to 4 adult passengers. There's a reasonable amount of internal storage space too, which includes a large glove box. And hose clean flooring, that's a useful touch on a car like this. Access to the rear is via these wide opening sliding doors on both sides of the vehicle. That'll be a comfort to parents fed up with their offspring swinging open conventional doors and bashing the next door neighbour's car in the supermarket car park. In contrast to many of today's supermini offerings, the large square boot is very generous at 650 litres with all these seats in place, or 330 litres below this sturdy parcel shelf. Unfortunately, you can't reposition it at different levels like you can with a Renault Kangoo, but it's certainly a very practical space. The rear seats split fold down 60-40, but if you want to get maximum capacity, you'll need to remove them completely, a procedure that converts the Qubo back into something approaching van form, with a huge 2,500 litre capacity, accessible via a low, flat loading lip and full-width tailgate. As an alternative to this, not the lightest thing to pull down, there's an optional pair of vertically split side opening back doors that might better suit those, for example, who are looking to use the car for a wheelchair conversion. For the transport of long items, like say an adult bike, the designers have even thought of a folding front passenger seat that folds into the front passenger footwell. List prices suggest that you'll end up paying somewhere between £10,000 and £12,000 for your Fiat Qubo, with a £1,200 premium for the 1.3 litre diesel version over the 1.4 litre petrol. Now that's about what you pay for an ordinary, and by contrast rather impractical, standard supermini. If you go for the diesel version, there's the option of a 6-speed semi-automatic duo logic transmission. Asking prices for the 73 brake horsepower 1.4 litre petrol and 75 brake horsepower 1.3 litre diesel may be very slightly more than you'll pay for this car's design stablemate, Citroen's Nemo Multispace, but there's not much in it, and the Fiat is far the trendier looking of the two, and also boasts a slightly more powerful diesel engine. You'll pay a few £100 more if you want a more car-like supermini MPV, something like a Vauxhall Meriva or a Citroen C3 Picasso, and it won't be as practical as this Fiat. If you want something that's very slightly bigger, a family hatchback-based van mini-MPV like Citroen's Berlingo Multispace or Fiat's own Doblo might suit, and those vehicles are particularly useful if you want the option of 7 seats. Gone are the days when van-based MPV buyers were happy if their purchase had a heater and a glove box. All Fiat Qubo customers get remote central locking, power steering, a trip computer and a CD stereo, along with a Blue & Me communications system that includes Bluetooth connectivity and voice command functions. Running costs are low, with Group 2 insurance and nearly 63 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle from the diesel version, which puts out only 119 grams per kilometre of CO2. Returns that respectively fall to 40.4 miles to the gallon and 165 grams per kilometre if you go for the petrol model. If you don't mind someone criticising your driving and want to get as close to these figures as possible, Fiat offer an eco-drive system. Plug their special USB stick into the car and it collects data relating to your driving style. Then plug the USB into your home computer for a breakdown of your driving style, including marks out of 100 for the level of efficiency achieved. Step-by-step tutorials can then be viewed to help improve the score next time. Fiat claims that following the advice can lead to an improvement in fuel economy of up to 15%, with a corresponding cut in emissions. Judged in the metal rather than on paper, this deceptively versatile little car conceals its workmanlike origins very effectively, except where there'll be a benefit to its target budget-minded audience. Cool by van-based MPV standards and sensibly practical by everyone else's, Fiat's Qubo may not be the car you always dreamed of owning, but it may be the one your family actually needs.